Here, that just so. It's Let me go out. It might be. Yeah, it might be. Yes, for life. Can anyone hear? Can we be heard right now? Yes, for life. Can anyone hear?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jeffrey Edenfield, host of Conservative Circle, and today we have a special live stream for you. So, joining me today is TechBoy. He is the host of Text Take on Conservative Circle. You can say hello, TechBoy.
Hello.
All right. Great to have you. So just introduce yourself, however you like.
Yes, hello everybody. I'm the TechBoy, CEO of TheTechBoy Media, and I'm here on Conservative Circle and the host of Text Take, where I'll give a segment in the Jeffrey Edenfield show and on my opinions of the day. So that's what Text Take is, and I hope you guys check it out.
All right, and we do have some news to break. So yesterday, Lindsey Graham passed away. Senator Lindsey Graham passed away at 71 on July 11th after a brief illness. We're bringing you that news tonight. So I do want to ask you your thoughts on that, TechBoy.
Yeah, it was really tragic. I know it's controversial, but he was one of my favorite senators. He really understood the importance of foreign policy and wanted to project American power across the globe. He wanted to defend our citizens. I saw a post on X today talking about him, basically saying that he wasn't into foreign wars because he just wanted to be this little neocon or cared what was happening over in Israel or the Middle East, whatever. He cared about that because he cared about American citizens and protecting us from basically the third world, and I think that's impressive. But he also did some great things domestically as well. He was a pro-life advocate. He was for a 20-week and a 15-week abortion ban in South Carolina. He was a traditional conservative. He protected. Well, he voted to protect, the marriage between a man and a woman. Of course, that got overturned by the Supreme Court, but he stuck true to his principles. And the people are saying that he wasn't a family man and he didn't have any kids. He was loyal to the United States of America and, of course, the Republican Party, and he understood the importance of that in his campaigning ability. When he was loyal to the country, of course, with his military service in the Air Force, he was basically a foster figure to his sibling was 13 years younger than him, and he adopted her after his parents both tragically died at the age of 21. And people were saying, he was answering President Trump, and back in 2016 and 2015, look, he was running against him for president of the United States of America. He understood that you have to attack them like heck as much as you can to try to win that nomination. But then when you don't get that nomination, then you rally behind the United States president, the nominee of the Republican Party, President Donald J. Trump, and he was a great ally to President Trump. President Trump even said today on the news that he was helping to push the SAVE Act. People saying that he's a very hard worker. He really made sure to ram the Republican agenda down the Senate. And for that, I respect him. I admire him. That's why we love Senator Lindsey Graham.
Yeah, so of course, prayers with his family at this moment. I say tragic and unexpected because he was just on a trip. TechBoy, where was he? I completely forgot.
He was in Ukraine. He was in Ukraine yesterday, actually, and then he was slated to come on to Meet the Press today. So, one of the great things about Lindsey Graham was that he was always honest with the press. If people say that they didn't like his stance on Israel and foreign policy, he didn't try to hide that behind any donations or whatever. He went on Fox News and literally said, I am good for Israel. I will be with them to my dying day. And, he was. So you can't slight him for being honest, for being a liar. He was an honest person. And he also always went on to meet the press and talk to cameras. I mean, there wasn't a camera that he wasn't on. According to Meet the Press, today would have been his 63rd episode on the program Meet the Press. So if you wanted to know where Lindsey Graham stood on something, if you wanted him to talk to his constituents, he was always there for them. There's a reason why he was elected by South Carolina multiple times. It wasn't because South Carolina cared that much about foreign policy. It's because he was always there for his constituents. He always had an open ear for them, and that's why he won multiple times. And it's great that we were able to win that seat for the first time since the Reconstruction era back in the 1800s. So it's a really tragic event that Senator Lindsey Graham, of course, has passed.
Yeah, now we're going to move on to some of the hot topics that we are talking about today. Today, we are talking about the Fishback trial. So, a 2-day trial is set for July 21st and 22nd after Lieutenant Governor Jay Collins files a lawsuit to remove Fishback from the ballot, claiming he doesn't meet the resident requirements to run for governor. He's lived here his whole life. And Jay Collins only moved here in 2019. I think that was when he became Florida State Senator. So, TechBoy, I want to get your response to this.
I think that James Fishback is obviously going to win this case. I'm not an expert on the Florida Constitution, but according to what I've read, he has to live there for 7 years. And according to James Fishback, he's been born there and lived there presumably his entire life, went to school in Florida, so that's at least 7 years there. Now, Collins' case is essentially saying that he had a apartment in DC where he could live, and he also voted in DC as well, which that might be a problem as well. But according to James Fishback, he said that that apartment was mostly for him when he was going to visit his family, and his sister is the apartment is for right now. But I think that the people of Florida should decide who the next governor is going to be. I don't see any real law being broken here. It's not like he committed this heinous crime or anything. It looks like James Fishback is going to win this case, and Collins, I mean, he's basically on his last draft right here. I mean, there's nothing else for him to do. He's polling at like 2%. He debated. His debate performance was terrible, as I noted in the first episode of Text Take. So this is basically his Hail Mary shot, his last chance. I don't think it's going to get anywhere.
Yeah, do you think why Jay Collins filed the lawsuit is probably because he knows that he's not winning, and if Fishback's out of the race, he can place higher in the race? Do you think that could be why
absolutely.
he's coming out?
This is obviously a political move. I mean, no doubt about it. I mean, everything that's happening in this election is obviously political. I mean, I can give an example for this. When I was running for president of my high school back in 2023, some of the kids were telling me, it might be a joke, I don't know, that they felt threatened that if they voted for me, that the other president was going to do something wrong to them. Obviously, she didn't do anything wrong to them. We're friendly with each other now. But when I was running for that, I didn't know it was my first week. So obviously, I went up to the teachers and basically said, look, we can't have these candidates threatening students. So obviously, I did what I was trying to do because I wanted to win the election, which was lawfare. And I think that that's what Jay Collins is also doing with lawfare, because he can't win by votes. Because, I mean, you've seen him debate. He has the IQ of a goldfish. I'm sorry. He can't debate to save his life.
You're right there. Well, I did not know you were such a crook. Why are you a crook?
I'm not a crook. I mean, I was working off the information that I had there. If I'm hearing that students are being threatened to vote for someone else, obviously I'm going to fight for what is right. Help lead my school to victory.
All right, so another thing that we're talking about is socialism, and that's what we're talking about on this week's or next week's episode. This Friday, you'll see that. But here's a little preview of Text Take for Text Take number 2.
Hates America and views the flag and the values it represents as a rag for communist hands. She wants death, destruction, and violence in the streets. As Americans, we should never team up with socialists or people who are sympathetic to socialism.
So, TechBoy, we are seeing the rise of socialism in America, from the Democratic Party, Graham Plattner, AOC, Bernie Sanders, etc. A lot of candidates running, a lot of them winning their primaries. What is America coming to? Are we going to have a socialist president maybe in the near future, maybe in 2028?
It really comes down to who the Republicans are backing. I believe that if we see someone like Marco Rubio win the Republican nomination in 2028, we're going to get a more establishment-like candidate like Gavin Newsom. And if we see someone like J.D. Vance, I think we're going to get AOC. And, some people could argue that J.D. Vance does have some socialist-leaning tendencies for reading his book. Of course, when he's talking about government subsidies for farmers, and etc. But on the Democratic side, we've seen these people win elections, sweeping easy ways over in Colorado and in New York. I talk about this in this week's text take, so make sure you guys check that out on Friday. But I think the youth are just attracted to socialism. They want to have free stuff. I mean, who doesn't want to have anything that's free? And right now, people are saying that prices are high. The price of gas is high, and they want to have people who are focusing on, the issues that Americans care about. And they don't like that we have billionaires and trillionaires because they don't understand that in America, the economy is not a zero-sum game. Just because Elon Musk is a trillionaire doesn't mean that you also can't become a billionaire or a trillionaire. But it's really easy to sell socialism, and even some conservative people are starting to become sympathetic to socialism and socialist influences, and we have to prevent that from happening. So, if we prevent that from happening, then we're not going to see President AOC or even a President Graham Platinum. I mean, when we look at Graham Platinum, if you want the Democratic nomination in Maine, which is a pretty moderate state, they have a Democratic governor and a Republican senator. So it's a pretty moderate state, but they're not radical left like California. They have a pretty moderate legislature and still a Democratic nominee who was DSA backed and had some pretty weird alleged scandals with women. With he's an alleged rapist, he's an alleged sexual abuser. He's done all that, and they still voted for him. So, I mean, I think that if it's a bellwether for how the nation's going to go, I think that people who are in deep red states like Oklahoma or Texas might start leaning to think, well, maybe socialism might be a good idea. We'll have to look at some of the swing states, Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania. We'll have to look at what's happening over there. Even speaking of Michigan, we have Abdul Al-Sayed, who's running to be a senator in Michigan, who's also a DSA-backed candidate. So, yeah, we are seeing this rise across America. We have to stop it right now because socialism just slides to communism, and communism kills countries.
Yeah, you're right. So you notice that people would, because they're hearing free healthcare, free childcare, whatever, etc. They're leaning socialist. What can we do to prevent that? I mean, why capitalism over socialism? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Capitalism is the most fair system known to man. Obviously, there's going to be inequity. There's inequity in every system, right? There's no way that you can have complete equality across all systems where everyone starts off with the exact same money, with the exact same IQ, with the exact same, family. But inequality in America can easily be solved by hard work and determination. In socialism, when people are just going to be given, say they get $1,500 just to exist in universal basic income, that's what they call it. And, maybe you'll get free healthcare and free childcare. I mean, you're not going to have a perfect life, but you can live off that. You can go out, you can buy your food, you can go out, you can pay off your cell phone, and then you can have healthcare and childcare, but you're not going to do anything. You're not going to contribute to the economy. You're not going to contribute to society. And society itself is going to break down because you're going to learn how to get, provided for by the government who should not be providing for you. Socialism really destroys communities because the people who's providing for you should be your community, your family, your church community when you're in need because you have stake in that community. Right? Sometimes you'll give a tithe to your church. And when you're in church, of course, you're going to become more moral. You're